Hey, homerjnick here with another update to Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil Edition or Eternal Collection on consoles. Season 12 finished last weekend, and patch 2.6.1 was a pretty spectacular patch with a fair amount of power creep in it and balance for all classes. Now I decided to pass on Season 12 given the current exploits that exist on the console version of Diablo 3, and I mentioned those in another video. These exploits can make leaderboards, well, rather dubious, so to speak. But that said, many players did take part in Season 12 on both platforms on console, the PS4 and the Xbox One. And so I think it's good to review how those players on both PS4 and Xbox One did at the end of Season 12. And it's also good to compare how they did against the PC version of Diablo 3. And so without further ado, let's get stuck into a review of the leaderboards for Season 12 on consoles. Okay, so we're going to start off with the PlayStation 4 leaderboards. We're going to go through Softcore Solo and Softcore Group, and then Hardcore Solo, and then Hardcore Groups for PlayStation 4, and then we'll move on to the Xbox One version of the leaderboards with their Softcore and Hardcore leaderboards, and then we'll compare all three platforms, the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the PC, and see how they all finished up. You will notice on my little representation of the leaderboards here that there's a number after the player's name in brackets. This denotes the amount of Primals that build had when it did its GR clear. That's there for information purposes. As we know, on the console version there are exploits where you can get Primals far easier than PC, and it does seem, sadly, that this has been abused on the leaderboard. But this video is not about that. This video is just about a review of the leaderboard. So let's get stuck in. Let's have a look at the PlayStation 4, the Softcore, and the Solo classes in there. So let's start off with the Wizard. As you can see, every one of them in the top 5, there was a Twister Wizard, and they cleared the highest Greater Rift Solo on the PlayStation 4, and that was 127. And the top 5 were separated by just 3 GRs. So obviously a very popular build because it's very powerful, but 127 was the top build. The Witch Doctors, the Jade Soul Harvest builds cleared a GR 114 and 113, and under that was the Firebats builds. They are clearing that in Softcore. Moving on to the Necromancers, many people thought the Necromancers would be the best build in Season 12, but of course it wasn't. The Twister Wizards, well, there's a slight problem with the Twister Wizard on console. It's not fully patched like it is in PC, hence why it's a bit OP. But all the guys in the Necromancers were the Corpse Lance Pestilence builds, and they cleared 122. And again, many players playing that builds, and they were separated by 3 Greater Rifts in the top 5. So a GR 122 was the top build. If you like the Monk, you would have probably tried the Sunmuko Wave of Light build, which was hugely buffed in patch 2.6.1 for Season 12, and they cleared a mightily impressive 117. And again, they were separated by just 2 Greater Rifts in the top 5. So again, lots of players playing the Monk in Softcore and PlayStation 4. The Demon Hunters, surprisingly, I don't know, Shadow and Pale might have thought you might have dominated the top spots, but it didn't. In Softcore, the Unhallowed Multi-Shot build cleared 117, and that was 2 clear of second place in 115, and Shadow and Pale were underneath those 2 clear, so 117 for the Demon Hunters in Softcore. The Crusaders, what was always going to be Condemned Crusaders, will take top spot given the buffs to that build. And a hugely impressive 123, beating the Necromancers in Softcore on the PlayStation 4. So 123 was the top clear for the Crusader. And finally, the Barbarians, a Raker Charge build, cleared the most in Softcore on PlayStation 4. with 117 top clears. So they're fairly even across the classes. 117 for the Demon Hunter, for the Barbarian, and for the Monk. The Witch Doctors 114. Maybe there weren't that many players playing Witch Doctor this season. And then you had the Crusaders 123, the Necromancer 122, and the Wizards with the most on 127. But as you look at these clears, just take a note of the number in brackets against each player's name. That is the amount of primals that they had. It's disappointing to see the numbers 9, 10, 8, 9, 7. So many players in the top spots with huge amounts of primals, which you don't see in PC. And of course, as we know, there are exploits. But that is the stand-in of the leaderboards for the Softcore Solo on PlayStation 4. Let's have a look at the Softcore Group leaderboards on PlayStation 4. Okay, so here we have the Group Softcore leaderboards for the PlayStation 4 at the end of Season 12. This video is an updated version of the Season 12 leaderboards video that I made a few hours ago because I made a mistake. The 4-man softcore groups my PlayStation played up wasn't showing the correct stats, and I never double checked them, and so that first video was wrong. So this is the updated video to correct that. And as you can see, 2-man and 3-man both cleared a GR 132, and the 4-man cleared a GR 141. Again, you will see which build dominates the group setup in Softcore. If we have a look at the 2-man, we can see a support Barb and Twister Wizard completed 132. And it's interesting that in 3-man they also completed 132 as the top clear, even though they had the extra support of the monk, the ZDPS monk for healing. So that didn't make much of a difference then. If it completed a GR 132, very similar to the 2-man of 132, but without the healing monk. But the big rise there is a GR 141 that was completed by the 4-man guys. That's kind of the meta with support monk, support barb, Twister Wizard in console, and the Corpse Lance Pestilence build. And so yeah, those guys cleared 141, and they were very competitive in the softcore groups, as you expect, with a GR 140 and a GR 139 under that. And so that is very good. That's very near the limit or the cap of Greater Rifts is 150. So will Blizzard be able to increase more power in Diablo 3 with future content? I can't see it if we're already hitting the high 140s as PC and consoles are. If the cap is 150, then to me that suggests there is no new content coming. But 4-man did 141, 3-man did 132, and 2-man did 132. So that is the softcore group setup. It would be good now to turn our attention to the hardcore leaderboards. Okay, so the hardcore solo leaderboards on PlayStation 4. No surprises that the Twister Wizard dominating softcore also dominates hardcore too. And 118 was a top clear, which, let's face it, in hardcore, with death being a possibility, is fairly impressive. And again, it was quite close between all top 5 players, but 118 was a top clear. Doesn't compare too well to the Witch Doctor with 106. It's interesting to see the different builds dominating the top spots in hardcore compared to softcore, with the Witch Doctor, where the Zumanasi, the Gargantuan builds being 106 in the top clears there. Again, 2 with the builds in the Necromancer for hardcore. Only 1 player took the Lance Pestilence build to its max in 114, and that of course is 5 Greater Rifts clears higher than anybody else. Nobody else seemed to try the Lance Pestilence build in hardcore, and they all chose the Rathma kind of builds, which as we know is still powerful enough. The second place was 109. But 114 was a top clear in Necromancer. Hardcore monks were all Sun Wukos, Wave of Lights, and the top clear there was 107, which again is very mightily impressive. Demon Hunters, unlike Softcore, they were all Shadow Impales, and the top spot cleared 110. It's a bit disappointing to see the top player in Demon Hunter also being the top player in the Wizard builds, with a fair number of Primals in their builds there. Crusaders, like Softcore, the Condemned Crusader is very powerful, and they cleared 116 in Hardcore, only 2 behind Twister Wizard, and 2 more than the Necromancer. So the Crusaders are looking very strong in both modes of Softcore and Hardcore. But 116 was a top clear there. And the Barbs, well, they were almost all Elite Quick Barbs, but the Hota Barb took the top spot with 108 in Hardcore. So that's the Hardcore solo guys in the PlayStation 4. What about the group Hardcore guys on PlayStation 4? Let's check them. So finally, the Hardcore group leaderboards for PlayStation 4, and they're fundamentally different to the Softcore guys. So remember, Softcore 2, 3 and 4 man all cleared 132 without many support monks in that group setup. But as you can see here, in the 2 man, the 3 man and the 4 man, support monk was very important for healing, which you'd expect to avoid death. So the 2 man cleared 118, Twister Wizard and support monk. The 3 man, they had a support monk and 2 DPS for Twister Wizard, and the Condemned Crusader clearing 120, and 124 was the top clear in 4 man with the support mechanisms of Monk and Barb and Twister Wizard and the Pestilence Corpse Lance Necro. Again, you might see some players underneath that in the 3 man and 4 man. These guys cleared their greater risks, with some of the players also in the list maybe perhaps above them. So Juju B there, who did the support Barb and cleared 121, did that clear with some of the guys in the GR 124 group as well. But that is the leaderboards for PlayStation 4. It'd be good now to check the Xbox One guys and see what they did. And then after that, we're going to compare all 3 platforms to see what it's like. Okay, so let's get stuck into the Xbox One leaderboards with the Softcore Solo. And before we do, I just want to give a shout out to Just Shaded. That's the gamer tag of the player who lovingly supplied these stats for me at quick notice. I'm very much appreciative of him for helping me out. So here we go. Here's the Softcore Solo leaderboards. As you can see in the Wizards, let's start off with them. They cleared 125 with a Twister Wizard there. No surprises there. 12 Primals in spot number 5. I'll say no more about that. Witch Doctors cleared 110. That's pretty good. And again, a wide variety of builds used in the top 5 spots, but 110 was a top clear. No surprises that the Corpse Lance Pestilence build dominates the Xbox Softcore leaderboards too, and the GR 120 was the top clear. But isn't it again sad to see that there's 12 Primals number 1, 12 Primals number 2, 10 Primals number 3, and somebody with 13 Primals. That's every item being a Primal on the top 5 of the leaderboards. How can you compete against these players? Because you can't do that legitimately. It's just impossible. It's sad to see. This is the state of the game on console. But 120 was the top clear for Necromancers. 117 was the top clear in the Monks. And again, they were all the Sun Wukong Wave of Light builds. The Demon Hunters cleared 112. The Shadow Impales did take top spot on Softcore and Xbox, unlike the PlayStation 4 with the Unhallowed Multishot taking top spot. So that's quite interesting. The Crusaders, they did 118 with the Condemn build naturally, but again on Xbox there seems to be a tremendous amounts of players with high amounts of primals. 2 top spots there in Crusaders with 11 primals each. The Barbs took a very impressive 117 with the Hota Barb and Softcore, which was 5 GR levels above second spot. So that's the Softcore solo leaderboards that finished in Season 12 for the Xbox One. Let's have a look at how the Softcore group guys did. Okay, so the Softcore group leaderboards on Xbox One, these are quite interesting, especially when you compare them against the PlayStation 4. If you remember, on PlayStation 4, all 3 leaderboards in Softcore cleared GR 132. But here we have the 2-man, they cleared 128 with a Twister Wizard and a Support Barb. But then 3-man cleared a GR 133 with 2 support mechanisms of a Monk and a Barb and the Twister Wizard. And the 4-man cleared a GR 138. That's 6 levels above Softcore on PlayStation 4. And they did that with 2 DPS, 2 supports, as you would expect with support Monk and Barb, and the Corpse Lance, Pestilence build, and the Twister Wizard. So that's interesting. We'll just discuss that when we compare all 3 platforms together. But that's quite a good representation and very good clears to do a GR 138 and 4-man on Softcore on Xbox One. So what about the hardcore guys on the Xbox? Let's take a look at them. Okay, so here's the solo leaderboards for hardcore on Xbox One. No surprise, the support Twister Wizard dominates pretty much every damn leaderboard on console, but it clears 119 in hardcore, which is really impressive if it wasn't for, 12 primals. But yeah, 119 and 118 were the top clears there on Xbox One for Softcore. Witch Doctors, they cleared 104 in hardcore, and yeah, there's not much to say more about that, 104. Poor Witch Doctors didn't seem to do too well on both platforms, on both modes of hardcore and softcore, which is a shame. In hardcore on Xbox One, there was no Corpse Lance Pestilence build in the #1 spot. We have a Rathma build and top spot in 107, followed by 106. The Corpse Lance took 100 in the Necromancer. It's a tough build to play in hardcore, to be honest. But 107 was the top one. I'll give a big shout out for the monks. In hardcore, the Sunmuko, naturally Wave of Light would be the top build, but it's so good to see my good friend Trusk here take top spot with 113 with 1 primal, compared to somebody who has 13 primals. That's every slot having a primal and only doing 110. Cheaters don't win. So that's good to see. On Xbox and hardcore, Demon Hunters were all Shadow and Pale, and they cleared 109. They were again fairly competitive with 107 in second spot. Condemned Crusaders all dominated the top 5 in hardcore on Xbox, and they cleared the top spot was 106 with no primals. So again, that's fairly impressive stuff. 109 in hardcore was the Barbarians, and that is very impressive, and that was a Elite Quick Barg as well. So 109 was the top spot there. And so that is the hardcore solo. We've just got one more to do, the hardcore groups for Xbox, and then we can have a little comparison between PC, PS4 and Xbox One. So let's have a look at the hardcore groups to finalise things off. So finally, the hardcore group leaderboards on Xbox One. It's very interesting again. They cleared 118 in 2-man, 119 in 3-man, and 120 in 4-man. But no surprises to see that the Twister Wizard is, of course, king on these clears. So the Support Barb and Twister Wizard did the 118 in 2-man, the Support Barb, Support Crusader, and the Twister Wizard did 119 in 3-man. I haven't seen a Support Crusader in any of the top clears, so that's good. And on the 4-man, support Crusader, same player, support Barb, support Monk, and then the Twister Wizard did the 120. And so that's the top clears for solo, for group, for hardcore, for softcore, for PS4 and for Xbox One. There's some very interesting stuff in there. It's the first season that we've had with this new patch 2.6.1. What is it revealed? What is the meta? What is the group composition on the console version compared to the PC? What have been the top clears? What has been an interesting builds? Let's take a little look at the comparisons of all three platforms, shall we? Okay, so here are the highest clears in solo and group play, and hardcore and softcore for all three platforms, for the PC, for the Xbox One, and for the PlayStation 4. And there are some revealing stats in amongst these clears. Most people recognise that the PC game is different to console. There's different mechanics with Nephilim Glory, less density, better targeting with a mouse and keyboard. So whilst the games do play differently in console compared to PC, it still is interesting to compare the clears. Now in previous seasons, the PC clears well above console because of these factors. So it is interesting to look as we go through this now that the console version has got closer, forgetting about the Twister Wizard, because there is a problem with the Twister Wizard on console. But in general, it's a lot closer, which is very interesting for people who complain about Nephilim Glory mechanic, like myself. But anyway, let's have a look at the clears then. So on the left we've got softcore, on the right we've got hardcore. And if you have a look at the wizards, it's very interesting that the PC cleared 123 in softcore, and yet the Xbox and the PlayStation beat that with 125 for the Xbox and 127 for the PS4. And the same is true in hardcore for the wizards. Over on the right, PC cleared 114, while Xbox did 119 and PlayStation 4 did 118. Of course, on the console, Twister Wizard wasn't fully nerfed like it was in PC, and console players can hold down two buttons at once, so they can channel as well as casting twisters, which does make a big difference. So that is why console version of the wizards are clearing higher clears than PC. There's not much to say about the witch doctors. In PC and softcore they cleared 119, while they cleared 110 and 114 on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. In hardcore it cleared 114, and the guys on console didn't really fancy the witch doctor this season, as they cleared only 104 and 106 on both console platforms. The necromancers I find very interesting. The PCs in softcore cleared 125, and the console guys weren't far behind. Now with the Twister Wizard, yeah, there is problems with that on the console, which is why it clears higher than PC, but there's nothing like that on the necromancer builds, so they're very close. The Xbox guys did 120 in softcore, and the PlayStation 4 did 122, only 3 levels behind PC. Hardcore was similar. PC did 118, PlayStation 4 did 114, and the Xbox One guys didn't push the Corpse Lance Pestilence build on hardcore, so they only did 107. But it's very interesting how close that is compared to previous seasons with PC builds against console builds. And again, that's proved true in a lot of classes, like the monks. For instance, in softcore, PC cleared 119, while both console platforms cleared 117, only 2 under that, which is hugely impressive. And again, in hardcore, the monks, well, Xbox One guy matched PC with 113 clear, and 107 was the PlayStation 4 entry. So even though there's different mechanics with Nephilim Glory, with lack of targeting, with lack of density, somehow Blizzard have balanced the game where they kind of are almost on parity with one another. Remember that PC has a far bigger player base, and so you would always expect a bigger player base to have better clears with better RNG experienced by some players. Demon Hunters again proved the point that in softcore they cleared 117 in PC, they cleared 117 in PS4. and Xbox did 112. Demon Hunters and Hardcore did 113 with PC, with 110 on PS4 and 109 on Xbox One. So again, very close together, which I find quite surprising, given the difference in mechanics that I keep mentioning. Crusaders proved the point once more. PC did 125, PS4 did 123 in softcore, and Xbox did 118. On hardcore, the Crusaders did 117 on PC, 116 on PlayStation 4, and Xbox Crusaders on hardcore didn't really fancy it and did 106. And just to wrap up the solo comparisons, the PC and Barbarian softcore did 121, and they did 117 on both console platforms. Again, that is pretty close. 113 hardcore barbs on PC, and 109 and 108 on the console platforms. So doesn't it just highlight just how close or closer all three platforms are since patch 2.6.1, because it hasn't been like that in previous seasons. The group setup, well, on the left there with PC, they cleared 2-man a GR 129, and as we know, the Xbox and PS4 guys cleared 120 and 132, with a Twister Wizard being more powerful in console is probably the reason for those clears. But parity was restored on hardcore, with PC clearing 121 in 2-man and 118 was the console's efforts. But in 3-man is where you start to see the gap beginning to widen slightly. PC did 137 in softcore, while the guys did 133 and 132 in console. In hardcore, in 3-man, PC did 126, whilst they did 120 on PS4 and 119 on Xbox One. So 6 level difference there in hardcore. And the bigger the gap, again, you see in 4-man, PC hit 147 in softcore with a 4-man group. PS4 did 141, Xbox did 138. But look at the difference in hardcore. On PC they cleared 138, which is a full 14 levels above PS4 on 124 and Xbox One on 120. So as more players also involved in the 4-man meta, they're far bigger clears on PC, as we can see. But that's just a comparison of all three platforms on all the solo and the group leaderboards. And that's all the leaderboards in entirety for Season 12. It's a pity none of this stuff is on a website where we could just have a look at it, instead of hearing some Scottish Diablo 3 player doing videos and getting spreadsheets and such like. I took a break from Season 12 due to all the exploits, but I feel ready to go for Season 13. And my goal for Season 13 is to play solo and not play any group setup whatsoever, and just to see what I can do. With the power creep with patch 2.6.1, solo players can now do better than they could in previously, and so I am going to try and see what I can do solo and see what I can do in Paragon and Legendary Gems. I also am going to try and stream every session I do, just to also show that you can compete on the leaderboards in Season 13 and on patch 2.6.1 without cheating, without exploiting. It was done this season. Sadly, there was many exploiters in the top 5 spots, but there wasn't. There was people who were legit, who were also in the top 5 spots. So it can be done. People don't need to cheat to compete in Diablo 3, although sadly, as we know, there are exploits on the console version. So that just wraps up the Season 12 leaderboards videos. I'm homerjnick, and I'm out of here.